Well, let's talk a little bit about retiring in Nicaragua. Retiring in Nicaragua seems to be quite the thing to do. Actually, the cost of living is quite nice, relatively inexpensive. I rent a really nice condo for, well, they call them condos here, but it's really a two-bedroom apartment. Air, cable, Wi-Fi, completely furnished, right down to knives, forks, linen, maid service twice a week. It's really nice, and it's like $400 a month. And they've got some other units here that are four or five, three-bedroom units that are, I think, 500 a month. But nice place. But anyway, this is sort of what you need to know for your residency. You can go online to the Nicaraguan consulate and get information there, which is what I did when I first started working on my residency. Your residency as a retired person is what I'm going to talk about. Several things you're going to need. You're going to need a proof of income, being a statement from Social Security if you get your Social Security, or you also should have your bank 3 months worth of bank deposits, your most recent 3 months of bank deposits. You need a birth certificate. You need a doctor's statement, basically stating that you're not insane and in reasonable health. You also, there's one other thing. What else is that I needed? Birth certificate. Oh, your Social Security income. I think that's about it. Oh, and your passport, of course. Now, all of those items need to be notarized locally wherever you are or wherever they're from. For instance, if you were born in California but you currently live in another state, you need to have your birth certificate notarized, or better yet, it needs to be authenticated by the embassy in that state. By the, not the U.S. Embassy, by the Nicaraguan Embassy or the nearest Nicaraguan Embassy. What they do is they authenticate the birth certificate. Then they send that to you. That's going to cost you, depending on which state, I believe. When I did it, it was $25 per authentication. Now it seems to be about $75. By the time you're finished, you're going to have 4 or 5 papers that you need to have authenticated. So it starts climbing up there in money. Once you have all those forms, birth certificate, you need your passport, birth certificate authenticated, you need a doctor's statement that you're healthy, wealthy, and wise. Well, not wealthy, but at least wise. That needs to be notarized in the county where the doctor is, as well as authenticated by the county that, this is something, as well as the notary's signature has to be authenticated by the county that issued the notary license, and then that has to be sent to the consulate for Nicaragua in or close to the state that you're in for that to be authenticated. Now, you've got all your authentications, you've got your income statement, which also has to be authenticated. Now you're ready to go to Nicaragua. You go to Nicaragua, you bring all that with you, you go down to the Interior Affairs Department. They, in turn, are going to authenticate everything else again. You pay a few Cordovas, which is, I don't think it cost me $10 to do that. However, now you have to get everything translated. Once you get everything translated, and remember, you need copies of everything. If I were you, when I got my birth certificate and my doctor's statements, I'd get 3 or 4 copies of my original birth certificate. I most definitely would. I would also get 3 or 4 copies of my income statement. And you're going to need photographs. The photographs you can have taken here, right at the immigration's office. Very reasonably priced, $3 or $4, something like that. Get extra photographs. Now at this point, you might want to consider hiring an attorney, but frankly, I would get a reference for that. I wouldn't be so hot to trot to just grab any attorney. Around here, you need references for all the people that you hire to work for you. And I mean good references, preferably references from someone who's had that attorney do the particular type of case for them to refer them to you. What happens then is these papers go to another organization here, I forget the name, but it's not the immigrations. It's sort of like I guess they proofread and check everything. Once they check it, they send it over to immigrations. Immigrations, I'm not sure what they do with it, but there's another form that you have to fill out. That one might cost you a few dollars, maybe $2, $3. Once you fill that out, you wait again. Once that's accepted and you pay them roughly $150, they'll hand you your ID card, which is called a cedula. Now for me, this took almost a year because I did everything the website said, but when I got here and went to turn the papers in the first time, they told me that the law had changed, but they hadn't changed it on the website. So I had to go back to the States and have a few other things done. Then back. Then I had a problem with getting authentications from the San Francisco Nicaraguan consulate. It took me 3 months to get an authentication from them. It took me about a week to get an authentication from the New York consulate's office, the Nicaraguan New York's consulate office. Things should be expected not to run smoothly. Then you won't be disgusted. you won't be like I was, which was pretty frustrated, although I finally made it through. So basically, that's sort of a brief overview of the things you're going to need for your oh, by the way, you need a minimum income, at least the last time I checked, you need a minimum income of $600 a month. Your residency card, when you finally get it, will be for 5 years, meaning no more well, you still need a password to go in and out, but you're a resident now. It's a lot easier to do things here. It makes you eligible to get a driver's license if you want to get a Nicaraguan driver's license. Much easier to open a bank account, but that's a whole nother scene to open a bank account. We'll get into that later. So basically, that's where you're at. If you need any help, you can always check with landofretirement.com. It's www.landofretirement.com, and we'll give you some help. We're not lawyers, but I mean, we'll at least kind of talk to you about it, and we might can refer you to a good attorney that won't just take your money and nothing happens. And also one that speaks English. So anyway, I look forward to seeing you as a resident in Nicaragua.